Testing, no? Are these working? Okay, there you go.
This one works.
Yeah, it's 9:30. Let's get started. Madam Clerk, could you do the roll call, please?
Supervisor Chavez.
Here.
Supervisor Magsic.
Here.
Supervisor Mendez.
Here.
Supervisor Pacheco.
Here.
Chairman Bredefeld.
Here.
All present, thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to the Tuesday, January 27th, 2026 meeting of the Fresno County Board of Supervisors. We'll begin today's meeting with the invocation and the flag salute. The invocation will be led by District 2. After the invocation, if you would please remain standing for the flag salute. The invocation will be done by Father Townsend Waddle. Is the Father here? Hi, Father. Welcome. He's the rector of St. Michael's Anglican Church in Fresno. He's been married. He's been ordained for 18 years and has lived in Fresno and Clovis for the last 16 years. I don't know how long you've been married, but he is married. He is married. He is married to Lisa, who is a teacher at Ranchos Middle School in the Golden Valley Unified School District. He has two sons, Benjamin, who's an electrician's mate, nuclear on a U.S. Navy submarine. Love that. Thank you for his service. And William, who is a senior at San Joaquin Memorial High School. Please, Father. If everybody would stand.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for your great providence. We thank you for sending your Son, Jesus Christ, to live among us, to die for us, and to rise again, giving us the gift of everlasting life. We thank you also for sending us the promised Holy Spirit to dwell in our hearts, to convict us and to show us your will and direction for our lives and for this community. We pray your blessings upon everyone here in the county of Fresno. We pray for our citizens, that they will experience the peace that passes all understanding, the peace that can only come from you. We pray for our county supervisors, that they will govern with wisdom and with courage, the wisdom to discern the best direction for our county, and the courage to take the right course of action, even if it's not always popular. Again, we give you thanks and we continue to ask for your grace, your mercy, and your blessings. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Please salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's, item number 1, approve the agenda. Any comments from the board?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
Item number 2, approve consent agenda. Item numbers 20 through 54. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, per CAO staff, item 54 under social services has been deleted from your consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. For everyone, consent, these matters are routine in nature, usually approved by a single vote. Would any board member like an item removed from consent for discussion? Would any members of the public like an item removed from the consent for discussion? Seeing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Consent passes unanimously. Item 3.
Item number 3, under Board of Supervisors, presentation of retirement plaque to Stephanie Oakley, Department of Social Services, 27 years of service. We've been informed that Ms. Oakley is unable to attend today's meeting, so we'll be mailing her plaque to her. Item number 4, presentation of retirement plaque to Lila Rose A. Bangs, Department of Public Health, 34 years of service.
Public Health, here to present.
Good morning. Joe Prado, Director for Fresno County Department of Public Health. Thank you, Chairman and fellow board members, for this great honor to represent to you Lila Rose Bangs and 34 years of service. I just want to give you a little background on Lila Rose. It's quite amazing here. Lila Rose was assigned to the Community Health Division's Childhood Lead Poisoning Program there, where she served 15 years dedicated to preventing childhood lead poisoning and case managing families with severely lead poisoned children. She built relationships and served her community with passion and tenacity, making her mark as a valuable resource to the many families she served. She later received recognition for her role in the lead program. Although great strides were made during her time in the childhood lead poisoning prevention program, Little Rose's heart yearned to do more for her community, bringing her to the realization that it was time to expand her nursing experience within the department, and accepted a position in the foster care program where she served for 7 years. In 2018, Lila Rose wanted to share her nursing experience and knowledge that she had gained over the course of her career through mentorship and team development. She accepted the supervising public health nurse position for the Babies First program, stationed at the West Fresno Regional Center. There, she also oversaw the nursing staff of the perinatal wellness program, a collaboration with the Department of Behavioral Health, working closely with mental health therapists to improve the mental health of pregnant and postpartum mothers. During her time at West Fresno, she also served as interim coordinator for the Black Infant Health Program that supports the Preterm Birth Initiative in improving birthing outcomes of our Black and African American communities through a group model series, and was our maternal child adolescent health coordinator until her retirement. In closing, on behalf of the Department of Public Health, I would like to say thank you to Lila Rose for the wonderful 34 years serving the community and families to prevent illnesses, preterm births, maternal and infant mortality rates, and Fresno County, and for serving our country through 35 years of service in the Navy. We wish you the very best in the many years ahead, Lila Rose. And you're going to get to meet Lila Rose right now, and she's an amazing individual. What I appreciated about her, no matter how difficult the situation was, she always approached things with a very calm demeanor, but also very effective in planning out what the next steps to be to really address an issue. So I present to you Lila Rose Banks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you for this award. I enjoyed being a public servant for Fresno County, love being out there empowering our clients to do the best for themselves. And I just want to say thank you.
Any comments from the board? Little Rose, was it said that you were also in the Navy as well?
Yes,
And how many years did you serve there?
35 years.
35 years in the Navy?
Yes.
Thank you. You're quite a person. That kind of service to this nation as well as now to the county. Thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you.
Any comments from the public? Okay, if none, would you come forward, please? We have a plaque and maybe photo with the board. Yeah, you have family or friends here? Oh, they're more than welcome. Come on up. Excellent. "35 years with the Navy." Yeah. I spent 3 years in the Navy. 35? Can't imagine. Oh, look. Can you do this, please? All right. Welcome. Welcome. Hey, Joe. It's right here.
Even it out.
Thank you again, Lila Rose.
We now move to item number 5 under Supervisor Magsic, proclaim January 2026 as National Human Trafficking Prevention Month in Fresno County.
I'll turn this over to Supervisor Magsic.
And I think we have some reps here from EOC as well as Breaking the Chain, so I'd ask for them to come forward. Human trafficking is something which we need to recognize happens everywhere. It happens here in Fresno County. It happens across the United States. And it's reported that around the world, there is somewhere around 27 million people who are experiencing modern-day slavery. So this is a real problem that is affecting us everywhere, and so it needs to be front of mind. So with that, if we could have the EOC share a little bit with us, that would be great.
Thank you. So my name is Evelyn Gonzalez, and I currently serve as the Outreach Coordinator with Fresno Economic Opportunities Commission, Central Valley Against Human Trafficking. Very long name. Thank you for the proclamation, and a special thank you to Nathan for supporting us for several years. I began my work in the anti-trafficking field around 2013 as a case manager advocate, and I found myself working alongside many dedicated anti-trafficking partners, many of which are here, from many different sectors, law enforcement, CBOs, many different sectors. And I began learning about the complexities of this crime. So over time, I began providing trainings to the community, what kind of situations to look out for, what can prompt to ask more curious questions. During these trainings, people often experience aha moments. That time when something suddenly clicks. I still remember my first aha moment. I had just moved into my new home in Kerman when a youth came to my door selling magazine subscriptions. Because the neighborhood was new, there had been many solicitors, so I had already prepared myself to say no to whatever was being offered. After the third time that I said no, the youth began to cry. It completely took me by surprise. I stayed firm and closed the door, reasoning that it might be a sales tactic. Still, the moment stayed with me. I can still picture him, teenage boy, blonde hair, blue eyes, standing there crying as I shut the door. I didn't make a report. I didn't follow up. I didn't ask any curious questions. I told myself that he was probably just having a bad day, or maybe he could have been forced to face some consequences for not making that sales quota. I'll never really know. Another story that had stayed with me came from a district attorney investigator. She told me about going out to locate someone she needed to interview. She found him in a trailer with two men guarding the entrance. After explaining who she was looking for, one of the men unlocked the door from the outside and allowed her to go inside. She was able to take him, complete her interview, and she returned him back to the site where she found him. No curious questions asked, no report was made, but it left her with an uneasy feeling. Today, in January 2026, we've made huge progress in the identification, but there's still more training that needs to happen. Many don't know still how to report a tip, how to connect someone to help, or how to recognize when somebody is being coerced to provide some type of service. Both of these situations may not have been trafficking, but they could have also been. That is why this awareness matters, and today we commend you for your continued support to National Human Trafficking Prevention and Awareness Month. But awareness can't stop here. We ask each of you to stay curious, to pause when something doesn't feel right, to ask questions, to learn the signs, and to know where to report concerns. Because one call, one question, or one moment of action could change someone's life. Human trafficking often hides in plain sight, and prevention begins with the education and awareness. Let us commit today to not looking away, to not dismissing the uneasy feeling, and to become the part of the solution. Thank you for standing with us and continuing to learn, and for helping create a community where exploitation has no place. And if somebody feels that they need to report a tip, they can call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, I would also, on behalf of the organizations represented here today, I believe we have Central La Familia, Central Valley Justice Coalition, of course, Fresno County EOC, Breaking the Chains, and Fresno Police Department, as well as the District Attorney's Office joining us today. And I see also Sheriff Zanoni with us. I want to personally thank you. As I try to discuss every year, I'm not only one of the community leaders, I am also someone who's been deeply impacted by human trafficking. Human trafficking has deeply impacted my family for 3 generations now right here in Fresno. Most recently, my daughter's life was taken, originally trafficked here by a gang member who took her down to Los Angeles where she was brutally assaulted and then murdered. My hope is that through the stories that you hear and the broad, vast amount of trafficking that is happening here, that you will continue to do what I've seen you do as you begin to address sex offenders within our community, those who prey on our children and on our communities, that you will allow this to shape the policies, the direction and the stance that Fresno County takes. I personally am asking from this board for us to look deeper into demand. You see, what we have to understand is that human trafficking operates like any type of business or organization within our community. It's all about profit and loss, risk and benefit. Our Fresno Police Department and federal authorities have done a tremendous job in addressing human trafficking. And it has actually been one of the honors of my life to be able to stand with them and watch traffickers slowly pushed out of some of our areas. Although traffickers still persist in some of the most gang-impacted and impoverished of our community. But there is one thing that cannot be denied. If we do not swiftly, calculatedly deal with demand, then this cycle will repeat itself. As long as there is money to be made off the backs of our children, women, and those who are most vulnerable, it will continue to persist here in Fresno County. So my hope for 2026 and into 2027 is as some of you step into other positions, that I know you will, and those who remain at the head of these seats will continue to keep your ears to the ground, your eyes open for opportunity to support legislation, policy, and city ordinances and county ordinances that would help drive down demand and keep our children and our community safe. Thank you again for everything that each and every one of you guys do.
Thank you. Please. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Krista Weens. I'm the Executive Director of the Central Valley Justice Coalition. Our organization provides prevention and intervention service for Fresno County foster and probation youth and training for those who support them. We've been at this work for 15 years now here in Fresno County. The National Trafficking Hotline data indicated that 29% of California cases involved labor trafficking or both sex and labor trafficking. Top industries were domestic work, restaurant and food service, agriculture, and construction. In 2024, there were 20.5 million reports related to child sexual abuse material made to NCMEC's cyber tip line. This month, I echo Deborah's statements that we really do need to address demand. Each member of our community needs to ask ourselves, who is driving these numbers? Who is viewing 20 million images of child abuse? Who benefits from the forced and coerced labor of essential workers? We can only make real progress in preventing trafficking if we all refuse to participate in the economic system that makes it possible. It is sometimes easy to focus only on policy. I believe that is a very important aspect, and I'm so grateful for the work that you all do. And I would also encourage every community member listening, everyone participating in civic government, to ask questions about our own community and our own actions, and where are the places where we are not seeing it? Where are the ways that our community is actually profiting off of the forced labor and the sexual abuse of our community members? Thank you so much for your time and your attention today and for your continued work in this effort.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Valeria Solorio, and I'm in charge of the Department of Protection at the Consulate of Mexico in Fresno. First of all, I want to recognize all of you supervisors who are recognizing this month as the National Human Trafficking Prevention Month. Recognitions such as these ones are important and are crucial because human trafficking is way more complex than we think. Public perception often associated with highly visible and extreme scenarios with a focus on sex trafficking. However, the greatest danger of this crime lies in its subtle and perceptive nature. At the consulate, we have seen a diversity of victims, ones that came following unreal promises of a fantastic job here in the US and who are now living on a permanent debt state. Others who were deceived and under threat, and they are not seeing their families again anymore, and who also have lost their freedom. Or even people who trusted their partners and are now used as merchandise. As you can see, we can all become victims of human trafficking. And even though human trafficking has many faces, there are some factors in common. Victims are usually controlled, isolated, exploited, and dehumanized by their abusers. And even after getting out of this situation, they struggle with depression, anxiety, paranoia, low self-esteem, and sometimes even suicidal thoughts. In the fields, we see people who suffer labor trafficking without even knowing that they are victims of this cruel crime. That is why it's critical to create awareness and teach our families, our children, how to identify these red flags that are in everyday life and also on the internet. We need to keep building safe spaces such as this one, such as the consulate, such as this board, and all the organizations that are present today. It is also important to keep working as a team. People who report the crime, authorities who investigate and bring justice to them, nonprofits, and also the Consulate of Mexico who assist the victims so they can become survivors. In this tenor, I want to extend my gratitude for all the people present today, to this board, to the agencies and organizations that work every day to help victims to recover from this cruel crime and also to create awareness to prevent this crime from happening ever again. Today, we refine our commitment to the cause and our willingness to keep working hand in hand with all of you to eradicate human trafficking. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Martin Rodriguez, and I'm with Centro La Familia Advocacy Services. All of us standing here work collaboratively to support survivors of trafficking. Each of us bring a unique area of expertise, yet we know we can rely on one another for support and resources when needed. This is the power of working together. Our shared goal is to help survivors of trafficking succeed and reach a healthier, more stable state of mind. As with any line of work, some cases lead to success while others face setbacks. Some survivors fall through the cracks, later finding the strength to pick themselves back up, while others struggle longer. However, as long as we continue doing this work, we will not give up on them. All of us serve both youth and adult survivors of sex trafficking, as well as youth and adults who are victims of labor trafficking. In my experience, most of the cases I have encountered involve labor trafficking. Some survivors entered the country unlawfully, while others entered with a work visa or through what is often referred to as the right way, only to later become trafficked. Many foreign nationals victims of trafficking do not initially realize that what happened to them was a crime. That is where we step in, to educate, to advocate, and provide possible resources so they can have the opportunity to succeed. You see, in 2009, Congress passed an immigration relief option that allows survivors of trafficking without legal status in the U.S. to eventually become lawful permanent residents through the T visa. To qualify, survivors must cooperate with law enforcement and remain in the United States rather than return to their home country. I have seen some survivors leave, but I have also seen many persevere and succeed. One example dates back to 2016 when we assisted a mother and daughter who were victims of labor trafficking. They received comprehensive support, including court accompaniment and assistance with immigration benefits. They were eventually granted T visas, which allowed them to enroll in public assistance programs and pursue education. DSS, like many of us, wants individuals receiving assistance to succeed and become self-sufficient. While some individuals take advantage of every opportunity, others do not. However, this mother and daughter fully committed to their journey. They both enrolled in school and worked hard towards their goals. In 2023, when they returned for services to adjust their status from their T visa approval, by the time mother was completing her teaching credential at Fresno State and was already teaching. Her daughter was in high school and inspired to follow her mother's footsteps and became a teacher. When I closed their case in 2025 and provided them with their green card, the mother had earned her credential and was teaching, while the daughter was awaiting her acceptance letter from CSU Fresno. These survivors not only overcome trafficking, but are now contributing members of our community and economy. We can only hope for similar outcomes for all survivors we serve, regardless of the type of trafficking they experience or their immigration status. The ultimate goal is for survivors to heal, improve their lives, and remain resilient. Thank you all.
Thank you. I will. Supervisor Magic?
Yep, I think everything has been said. So with that, I'll move for approval of this proclamation.
Any other comments from the board? Any comments, other comments from the public? Okay, a motion and a second by Supervisor Chavez. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Come on up if you would. Oh, you're supposed to get close again?
I'll just do one.
Okay, thank you all.
Now move to item number 6, under Human Resources, present certificates in recognition of the 2025 Fresno County cohort participants completing the designated number of credits to receive their executive credentials from the California State Association of Counties.
And HR will present this.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Chairman of the board, board members. My name is Jill Barr. I'm the Assistant Director of Human Resources with the County of Fresno. This item recognizes 18 County of Fresno employees that have put in the time and effort to complete a 10-part leadership development series and earned a California County's executive credential with the CSAC Leadership Institute for Excellence in the County Government. To tell you more about the program, our partnership, and those within the County of Fresno that have reached this career achievement during 2025, it is my pleasure to introduce you to the Chief Operating Officers for the CSAC Leadership Institute, Paul Danchik.
Thank you. Chairman Bredefeld, Supervisor, CAO Nerland, I just want to thank you for your vision and support in investing in your staff to be able to go through the CSAC Institute. Since 2008, the CSAC Institute has had one mission, and that's to advance excellence in county government through professional development and other services. We're excited today to be able to celebrate and recognize the graduates of the 4th cohort here in the county. Over the last 4 years, we have had a regional campus in Fresno, most recently in partnership with your neighboring counties, Tulare County, Kings County, and Madeiras County, to see this regional approach in professional development. Look, we know professional development works. We know it through the media feedback that we receive from our participants as they're going through the program on learning new skills around public service leadership and public service governance and what that means and how it goes into application. We also know through longitudinal studies that the programs work. We see it in folks feeling that it was a worthwhile experience. And we also see it in the advancements that they receive after having gone through the programs themselves. And we see it by the type of information they bring back to their teams to allow professional development to work among them as well. We're excited today to be able to recognize 18 graduates who are now joining a cohort of over 2,000 senior executives from across the state who have earned such a credential. And if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
I'll read the names and recognize the folks who
Absolutely.
graduated. From Social Services, Alimant Alibiji. From Behavioral Health, Natalie Amistad. From Public Works, Lemuel Asbeck. From the Sheriff's Office, Valeria Cardenas. From Behavioral Health, Garia Castro. From Social Services, Bruna Chavez. From the Library, Faye Griffin. From General Services, Scott Johnson. From Public Defender, Angel Lopez. From the Administration Office, Gustavo Gutierrez Gallenes. From the Administrative Office, Dylan McCauley. From Behavioral Health, Sean Patterson. From Library, Susan Renfro. From the Administrative Office, Amy Riles. From Library, Vera Scott Slater. From the Library, James Tyner. From General Services, Daniel Vang. And from the Sheriffs, Hisham Babla. Thank you very much, and congratulations to your graduates and your teams.
Yeah, any comments from the board? I'm sorry? Oh, please,
Comment?
sure, of course.
I just want to thank Paul for the partnership. We worked together at the California Counties Foundation as well, and to the graduates to congratulate them. You know, we're going through if you look at our workforce and you look at the number of employees in leadership that are going to be retiring over the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to see a sea change as far as needing new leaders to come into that. And so as I talk to our employees, we have a new cohort that's now happening. I'd like to just encourage our employees, take advantage of this, because we're going to need more people who have that leadership background. And this just gives a framework. It's quality training. So just congratulations, but also excellent work, Paul, also to HR, to Dave McCurry for the work supporting this. So thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? Okay, I don't believe we need a motion or a second to move this, do we? For certificates? Right. Okay, thank you very much.
Great.
Congratulations to everybody.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7, under Administrative Office, consider and take action on request for determination of public convenience or necessity in regard to application for alcoholic beverage license type 20 filed by Pinehurst Market LLC to be used at 53830 North Highway 245, Miramonte, California 93641.
And I believe we have a department presentation. Yeah, that screen is out. We only have one screen.
Good job leading this meeting, Dean. Good morning, Supervisors. Ron Alexander with the Administrative Office. As Dean mentioned, before your board is a Type 20 ABC license, which authorizes the off-sale of beer and wine for beer and wine to be consumed off of the premises where sold. Management Directive 2400 states that to issue this license, it should not tend to create a law enforcement problem. It'll provide a needed service to the community, and that it will have a positive impact on the local economy. The applicant has provided a written response addressing those 3 criteria. The Department of Public Works has been contacted. There are no zoning issues with this location. And the Fresno County Sheriff's Department has been contacted and reviewed this application. The applicant is in Census Tract 64.11. There are three off-sale licenses that are allowed in the census tract. There are currently 4 existing licenses within the census tract. Business code states that the ABC may approve this license if your board approves this license. This is a map of the census tract. The information there in tan. The applicant is shown there with the star, with the other licenses with the red dots. And this shows the proximity to the applicant for all of those existing licenses. And as you can see, the closest is 13.6 miles away. I would like to note here that we received several letters from the public approving this license. We do have one letter from the public that's in opposition to this license. That is a local business that was less than 500 feet away from the applicant. It's the Pinehurst Lodge Bar and Grill. They have an existing 47 license, which allows for, it's an eating establishment. But that license also does allow the sale of beer and wine to be consumed off of the premises, so they're opposing this license. And here is an aerial view of the applicant's location. This is the storefront. We have the north view, south view, the east view, and the west view. And again, here are the 3 criteria to make the determination of public convenience. I'm available for questions.
Okay, and I believe this is in Supervisor Magzig's district.
Yeah, just one thing I want to point out, and I think you highlighted it a little bit, but census tracts in the more rural parts of Fresno County can be enormous. And some of the locations that currently have licenses, like one that was identified on Piedra Road, which turns into Trimmer Springs Road, is no less than 25 to 30 miles from this proposed location. So I personally have no issues. I haven't been contacted by residents that have concerns about this, and I'm not aware of any concerns from law enforcement either. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Yes, ma'am.
Just like to say, good morning, Chair and Board. I am Ashley Atkinson, the owner of Pinehurst Market LLC, as well as the property here at 53830 North Highway 245. Just wanted to let you know that I'm here and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back. Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval of this item.
The motion is second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Passes unanimously.
Item number 8, receive quarterly update on the code enforcement program.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ed Hill, your Chief Operating Officer, and I'm joined by Ms. Elisanya Harrison, the Division Manager for Code Enforcement. And today we're here to provide you a regular update on the code enforcement program. Since our last update, which was in August, we've continued to make significant changes and improvements and progress in the code enforcement program. If you recall, when code enforcement was originally moved under the administrative office back in August, it had a backlog of over 3,000 cases. I'm happy to report that that number is down to 1,600 cases, so almost half, so that's a good progress note. We have developed response prioritization processes with 3 tiers. The first tier covers health and safety items, and we strive for an initial response of 24 to 48 hours. These are for hazardous conditions, unsafe buildings, things along those lines, and we're meeting that metrics about 91% of the time. The second tier is a 3-day initial response. These are for constructions without permit, illegal dumping, illegal occupancy, and we're meeting that metric about 63% of the time. The third tier is an initial response within 3 to 5 days. This is for rubbish and junk in yards, land use permits violations, abandoned vehicles, things along those lines, meeting that metric 76% of the time. So there's a little bit of work to be done there. We continue the recruitment and training of staff. I'm happy to announce that we are up 5 code enforcement officers, bringing us to the full 10 as of February. We'll be fully staffed. We'll move into training those individuals and getting them deployed, and that is always our first focus. We continue to improve and streamline our processes. We did a very deep dive into many of our ordinances and found many areas of overlap and opportunities to streamline them. Thankfully, your board amended those ordinances back in October, which has sped up our code enforcement process through our work. We've also taken a deep look at how we do work. For instance, in the past, we used to issue multiple notice of violations without progressing through cases. That's what contributed to that back case log. Now we do 1 notice of violation, then move right into abatement, notice of orders, and abatement warrants to move through the cases. We also are full in implementing our cost recovery system, and thanks to the help from the auditor's office, we do now have special assessments assigned to properties. I'm happy to announce that this last calendar year, we've issued $168,000 in special assessments and have collected $84,000, so we're starting to see some cost recovery. Thankfully, your board also approved our hourly rate in August. We will start building that hourly rate into our non-compliant property owners and violators as we move forward. Our largest challenges moving forward is our staff is still relatively new, so we will have to train them. That takes about 6 months for them to come up to speed. Once we do that, the senior staff that are training them will also be able to start taking on a caseload, so we'll be able to give you a better picture of how long it takes to move through a case progression for our staff. Our data system still needs upgrade. Thankfully, we did complete an RFP process, and we'll be bringing the new system, a system that's designed specifically for code enforcement. Hopefully next month, we'll be able to get better data matrix as well as benchmarking against other organizations and improve our processes. Then we're also continuing to look for overlapping responsibilities and ordinances that can be refined, and we will be bringing those forward. We have some on the books that are getting ready to come forward. So we still do have a little bit of challenges, but thankfully to your board's vision, direction, and support, we're moving in a very positive direction for code enforcement. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Public Works, Animal Control, Environmental Health, Fresno County Sheriff's Office, our other code enforcement agencies, because they've been instrumental in us streamlining these ordinances and moving this progress along. And then once and for all, a special thanks to County Council, Mr. Doug Sloan, Kyle Robertson, and Carly Flogger. They're instrumental in our processes. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board? Yes, please.
Yeah, I want to thank the Code Enforcement Division. I know that my district has quite a few challenges, but your department is very responsive to my staff, and I appreciate the continued improvement that we've seen. So thank you for that.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I would also like to add that I've had some interactions with Ms. Harrison from constituents, and very pleased to say that she approaches the violations with a compassionate manner, understanding, and an even hand. So I've had nothing but positive responses and think we're light years ahead of where we were just a couple of years ago.
Thank you.
Just want to thank you, Ed, for you and your team. I know that you guys have been kind of flying the plane and building it as it's flying, and really appreciate the legwork you've done on it, and look forward to working with your team this upcoming year.
Supervisor.
No, thank you for what you've done. I mean, when you go from nothing or almost nothing to something, you know, that's good. But is this still a completely complaint-driven?
That's correct, Supervisor Mendez. We are a complaint-based system.
Okay. So if we see things in our district that we know aren't, you know, right, then we can make the complaint.
Absolutely. You can reach out to myself or Elisanya, and we'll take it.
Right. And I want to thank the Sheriff's Department for working with you, because in the rural areas, without them, good luck with trying to get people to conform.
Yeah, they're a huge arm of our process.
Yeah, and I too want to add congratulations and thanks for all that you do for a CEO, Sheriff's Department, this board for making it a priority. Everybody's working together to address a longstanding problem. You guys are doing an amazing job, and you just need to continue to tell us the resources that you need as we have upcoming budgets, so we can make your job easier and make our constituents happier, which is really what it's all about. So thank you, and appreciate all the efforts.
Absolutely.
Item number 9,
Yes.
receive presentation from
Oh,
county.
let me interrupt for just a second. Just to interrupt for 9, we have some of our employees from SEIU who need to get back to work. They've requested to speak. There are 4 or 5. I will limit it to 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes, preferably on the one side, but you have 2. And then we'll have to move on. If you wanted to wait to public presentation, which you have trouble, I would give you 3. But otherwise, we're at 1 to 2. So 4 to 5 people, if you would.
Thank you, Chairman. I had some flattering comments that I wanted to give to the board first, but being the fact I don't have enough time, I'll save those.
You can
for a
just
later
do the
time.
flattery and forget the rest.
Well, first of all, I want to appreciate you and Supervisor Chavez for adjusting the agenda, allow our members an opportunity to quickly speak to the board. And I want to just once again give my thanks to CAO Nerlin, Supervisor Maxek, Mendez, and Pacheco for everything you guys have done over the last several years, from bringing us back from the time from the great imposition into where employees are now. So I truly appreciate everything you've done. Now onto my prepared statement. Good morning, Chair, members of the board. My name is Riley Telford, Chapter President of SEIU Local 521, representing approximately 4,000 county employees. I'm here today as a concerned representative of employees, urging you to take decisive action on the creation of a new retirement tier for Fresno County employees, one that includes a cost of living allowance, or COLA. As you know, Fresno County Employees Retirement Association exists to provide retirement security for those who have dedicated their careers to serving our community. However, without a COLA, retirees' purchasing power erodes year after year due to inflation. This is not just a theoretical concern. Recent years have seen inflation rates above 4%, significantly impacting the real value of fixed retirement benefits. Other California public retirement systems, such as CalPERS and other 37 Act counties, already provide annual COLA adjustments to protect retirees from inflation. In contrast, our current generation of Fresno County workers do not have this protection, leaving them vulnerable as the cost of essentials, housing, healthcare, food, and continues to rise. Retirees on fixed incomes are among the most vulnerable members of our community. Without COLA, many face difficult choices between paying for medication, groceries, or rent. This is not just a financial issue, it's a matter of dignity and respect for those who have served Fresno County faithfully. No public servant who keeps our most vulnerable families safe and healthy should have to choose between retiring or dignity or work until they're exhausted.
Thank you, Riley.
All right, thank you.
Next.
Hi, my name is Dale Holcomb, and I am an office assistant with the Department of Social Services and an SEIU member. As we grow older, retiring in dignity should be afforded to anyone that serves the public. My concern is for those workers that are on the Tier 4 and 5 retirement system who have been working to keep Fresno County families healthy and safe and cannot retire on time without having to work another job. Over 50% of Fresno County employees are on the Tier 4 and 5 retirement system, which has no cost of living adjustments. That means that after the many years of dedicated service to their communities, what these employees are greeted with is a pension with a pay cut due to every year due to inflation and the rising cost of living. I can guarantee you that higher level employees and management are not as worried about retirement, unlike these employees on the Tier 4 and 5 retirement system. I am asking this Board of Supervisors to take up the challenge of securing a well-deserved retirement for these employees on the Tier 4 and 5 retirement system so that they can retire in dignity after a long career of service. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Misty Dennis, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm a job specialist, and I've been employed with Fresno County for 11 years, the last 6 at DSS, like I said, as a job specialist. Love my job, love working here, love serving the public. That's why I'm here. But I'm going to share just really quick a little bit about my retirement and how this really does affect me. We hear the numbers, but this is how it changes lives. So I started at the county. I don't like to say this, but I started when I was 40. I didn't worry at that time what my retirement looked like, but now I'm starting to look at that. So now I'm learning that I'm Tier 4 or 5. We don't get a COLA. We have to complete at least 35 years of service to have at least 60% retirement. Plus the retirement, when I retire, does not pay for my medical insurance. I have to pay out of my pocket, meaning I won't be able to retire with dignity. I'm going to have to retire here, which I plan to stay at the county until I'm 75. I'm a job specialist, so that's going to be a little difficult to do. I have to walk my clients back to my desk, so I'm going to be with my cane walking, but I'm going to do it with a smile. But anyways, I'm going to be 75 doing that. When I retire, though, I'm going to have a limited budget, even with my deferred comp. I'm still going to have to consider at 75 maybe getting a second job somewhere, and that defeats the whole reason why I decided to come here to work for the county. I came here to work because I wanted to serve my community, I wanted to give back, and then I wanted to have a retirement where I could retire and have time with my grandkids, spend time traveling, spend time gardening, spend time gaming with my husband, things like that. But at that limited budget, I'll maybe have $2,500. And you got to remember, when I retire at 75, I don't have that COLA. So 10 years from then, when I'm 85, it's still $2,500, even when inflation goes up. And so this is a big issue because I'm going to be at a place where I am going to be a client, potentially be a client. And I worked 30, 35 years to serve the community, and then now I'm back as a client. And I really think that's really, really ridiculous for somebody who comes here and wants to serve and wants to be a part of the Fresno County employee. So with that, I just also say, people go, oh, it's 85. People in my family live to be 100. So I'm really looking at the fact that I'm going to live into be 100, maybe 103, right? And so that is just food for life because I want to have quality of life when I retire. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Raymond Fung. I'm an eligibility worker 3 at Department of Social Services, and I've been working with the county for 2 years. During these 2 years, I have been trying my very best to try to certify myself inside the language of my mother and my father, just so I could better service our community. I am ashamed to say that as of today, I am still not bilingual certified, so I can still not help my clients that I meet every single day from all backgrounds of life in the language that I know near and dear. There are times that I wonder why I have not been bilingual certified, and I think surely it's not just me. There has to be others. And I am very unfortunate to tell you that that is correct. There are many people, many eligibility workers in my Department of Social Services that cannot be certified for the language that they know, so we have to use a universal language line service. These services, they vary in quality, and in more than one occasion, I have been told that there has been detrimental costs and disservices to the families that have been provided simply because the translation provided was not accurate. This is unacceptable because we, as Department of Social Service, can do better by the people that we serve. I believe that we should give the opportunity to every worker to be certified in the language that they know, that we should offer these services to every person that is willing to try. I ask the board to please consider that, work with us to try to get these services out to our members so they can better serve our community and the people that deserve it the most. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is William O'Brien. I'm a social worker with the County of Fresno In-Home Supportive Services Department for 18 years. I'm a proud member of SEIU in good standing. And I'm here today to represent IHSS social workers whose caseloads have close to doubled in the past 10 years, and to advocate for improved staffing levels and retention of social workers for in-home supportive services. Also advocating for denied flexibility with telework options. If you're not familiar with that, that's the option for folks to work from home and use the provided equipment that we have to work remotely, enabling us to stay more focused, have less distractions in the home environment, and to provide better service for our customers, which is our goal. I'm asking the board and upper management to work with us to create practical solutions to strengthen our workforce, to make the staffing more appropriate to the number of people that have now reached this level because of the silver tsunami that's now upon us. With the aging population, more people are needing in-home supportive services. We're talking about low-income families that benefit from this, rather than these folks having to go in inpatient. This is a win-win program for the county for sure. It's bringing pay for over 20,000 employees to this county, and it enables aged, blind, and disabled people to remain safely in their own homes.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Now we're going to move on to number 9.
Item number 9, under the Administrative Office, receive presentation from Townsend Public Affairs, federal lobbyists regarding legislative actions.
And staff will do a presentation.
Good morning, Chairman Bredefeld and honorable members of the board. I'm Ben Goldine, the Federal Advocacy Director at Townsend Public Affairs. I'm joined today by my colleague Spencer Street, and together with our Federal Advocacy Manager Joseph Mello, we form the core of the team at Townsend Public Affairs that serves as your federal advocate in Washington, D.C. It's truly an honor to serve the County of Fresno. Both Spencer and I are natives of the San Joaquin Valley, and so we truly appreciate our partnership with the county and with you and the staff here to advocate for the county's needs and, by extension, the residents of Fresno County in Washington, D.C. Today, in our presentation, I'm going to turn it over to Spencer in a minute to just go over a little bit of who we are as a firm and what services we offer the county out in Washington, D.C. And then I will do a recap of what happened in Washington, D.C., what efforts we undertook on behalf of the county over the past year, and then talk a little bit about what to expect in 2026 and what policies we can engage in as a county in D.C. So with that, let me turn it over to Spencer.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. We at Townsend Public Affairs are very proud to represent the county, as Ben had mentioned briefly on the scope of our engagement with the county. A lot of this starts with information sharing, regular check-ins with county staff and members of the board to share what's happening in DC, guiding our action in Washington, but then also receiving information from the county about your priorities, your projects, and what we can do to further and elevate the county's agenda. A lot of that also stems from the legislative platform, which is also before you today, and we are serving as the liaison between the county and your congressional delegation and beyond with the federal administration. A A lot of that also involves real-time updates. Things in DC happen very quickly. We're engaging very quickly with staff, sending regular updates beyond those regular check-ins and providing monthly federal update reports. And we're very excited to host the county for the National Association of Counties Conference later in February. Another large piece of our engagement with the county is the submission of community project funding requests for otherwise known as earmarks for the 2026 fiscal year. We submitted 10 total projects on behalf of the county. 3 of those have been progressing in the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, or THUD, appropriations bill. These projects, starting with the Biola Community Sidewalk, this is a critical, long-needed project for the community Biola. In Carruthers, we submitted a project for sidewalk, curb, and gutter construction, and also a project for the expansion of the Central California Food Bank. Those projects are currently in the THUD appropriations bill, which is moving through the Senate. As you may have heard, events in Minnesota have delayed the funding for several of these bills. The THUD bill is caught up in a package of 6 appropriations bills, along with funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Senate Democrats are indicating hesitation advancing that funding, and Senate Republicans are working to potentially withdraw that individual bill, which would in turn require a return to the House. Currently, the House is not in session. They come back next week. If that amendment is to occur, there will be a brief lapse in government funding over the weekend until the House can progress that larger appropriations bill. However, these projects are safe in the THUD bill. We've heard positive feedback from your members and from members beyond the county's delegation to keep earmarks included in overall appropriations packages. So thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Ben.
Thank you, Spencer. So we began our service to the county back in January of 2025, and it's been a busy year. In addition to the community project funding requests we helped advance in the Transportation HUD appropriations bill, we engaged on a number of pieces of legislation moving through Congress. So I will spend a few minutes to recap that work. Perhaps the largest piece of legislation, not perhaps, it was the largest piece of legislation that moved through Congress last year, was H.R. 1. The bill has a few names, so you might hear a few. For simplicity's sake, I'll just refer to it as H.R. 1. It was an expansive bill that touched on many aspects of American life with some direct impacts on county operations. It made many reforms to the tax code. It extended tax cuts from 2017, the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, while increasing the SALT state and local tax deduction from $10,000 to $40,000, providing tax policies like no tax on tips and a new tax deduction for seniors. In addition to those tax changes, it also provided billions of dollars in funding for national defense as well as immigration enforcement efforts. And when it comes to direct impacts on the county, there are a few. We've highlighted these throughout the year. Back in June, while the bill was in development, we sent a letter on behalf of the county to the congressional delegation expressing our needs and some concerns about changes to SNAP administrative, that's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, administrative cost share, as well as changes to requirements for eligibility verification for Medicaid enrollees. And so those changes were ultimately included as part of H.R. 1. And now, when that bill was signed into law on July 4th, there are a number of implementation milestones to be aware of. Many changes went into effect on July 4th when the bill became law. However, looking at some of the new responsibilities the county will be required to implement as a result of this bill, we're looking at Medicaid re-verification, re-enrollment eligibility. Those redetermination requirements will begin on January 1st, 2027, so in just under of just about 11 months. However, later this year, the very first requirement for the county will kick in on October 1st, 2026, when the new changes to the administrative cost share for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program will go into effect. And then also on that date, on October 1st, 2026, the state of California will be limited in the amount of money it can receive from the Medicaid provider tax, which could lead to changes at the state level in terms of Medicaid reimbursement and funding for the county to perform Medicaid eligibility verifications. So there are some changes coming to the county in terms of staff work needed to implement this law, and we have been working with county staff to make sure they are informed of this timeline and the requirements that it creates. There were a few other legislative items that moved through Congress in 2025. First one I want to highlight is the surface transportation reauthorization. Approximately every 5 years, Congress reauthorizes federal highway, transit, rail, and rail infrastructure programs. And Fresno County has the most miles of county-owned roads of any county in the state of California. So we wanted to make sure that the county was engaged fully on this effort to reauthorize federal dollars for roads. And so we sent a letter back in May with advocating for streamlined and improved flexibility in federal funding, greater local control, and continued funding for emission reduction programs that benefit the county. And so we submitted that letter back in May, and we've worked closely with the county's congressional delegation over the course of the year to work on it, including these items in the Surface Transportation Reauthorization Bill. I'll talk a little more about timeline in a minute, but we anticipate this bill moving through Congress here in the spring of 2026. Some other items I wanted to highlight from our legislative engagement in 2025 was advocacy on the Secure Rural Schools and PILT reauthorizations and funding. Happy to say that the Payment in Lieu of Taxes, otherwise known as PILT program, which provides millions of dollars to the county to offset costs from foregone property tax revenues for federal lands, big issue up in the mountains with the federal forests and national parks. This funding was included in the March funding bill last year, and funding is again included in the bills that are moving through Congress this week. And then we also advocated for reauthorization of the Secure Rural Schools program, another program helping our rural areas offset funding, provide funding to counties with lots of federal land in rural areas. That program, that bill to reauthorize the program was signed into law last month. Then finally, I want to turn over to look ahead at what is coming down the road here in 2026. It's going to be a busy year in Washington, D.C., with a lot of must-pass legislation ahead of the end of the year. First item I want to highlight is the fiscal year 2027 appropriations process. This is the annual process to fund the federal government, and we have many ways we can engage with Congress on this. The most direct way is through the community project funding process, which Spencer mentioned earlier. Those are more colloquially known as earmarks. We have about $1.5 million pending in FY26 for the county, and we will look to engage again in fiscal year 27 to advance direct funding for the county's infrastructure and programmatic needs. Another big piece of legislation that needs to be reauthorized this year is the Farm Bill. That is the common phrase for the omnibus legislation encompassing all USDA food and nutrition programs. That bill is typically reauthorized every 5 years, but we last had a full Farm Bill in 2018, and we've been operating under annual extensions for the past 2 years. The county, obviously, agriculture is #1 industry here in Fresno County and throughout the San Joaquin Valley. The programs related to conservation efforts, price supports, as well as forest management efforts are key aspects of this bill that we will help advance as it moves through Congress this year. I mentioned earlier, surface transportation reauthorization. Those programs expire on September 30th of this year. I was in a meeting with the Speaker's office not yesterday, on Friday, where he talked about a real desire to get this done before the August recess. He also expressed a little bit of skepticism that they could get there, but that was the hope, is to get this done by August. Another item in the same committee as the Surface Transportation Reauthorization is the Water Resources Development Act. This bill's a bit of a misnomer. It's not as expansive as its name would indicate. It is what it is a U.S. Army Corps of Engineer authorizing bill. And so in a county like Fresno County with lots of Army Corps infrastructure and flood control projects, this bill, which is authorized every 2 years, is a way to engage with the Army Corps to ensure that the policies in place for the Army Corps are in line with county priorities. I should stress it's not a funding bill, it's just an authorizing bill, but it can shape policies in ways that are beneficial to the county. And then 2 other items to highlight before I move on to the timeline. This year, 2 issues have really begun to dominate Washington, D.C., and those are the issues of healthcare and cost of living, and in particular, cost of living surrounding housing policy. And so while we don't have concrete bills or legislation just yet, Speaker Johnson has indicated that he wants to spend the first half of 2026 working on healthcare legislation. And then a big push from the administration is to address the cost of living, the cost, in particular, the cost of housing. And so we anticipate some action on housing legislation in 2026, something we will be sure to keep you all posted on, as those are 2 big issues here in the county. And then looking a bit at the timeline, as I mentioned, we can expect the first big timeline, big inflection point, I should say, in 2026 hits on Friday, where we could see a partial government shutdown. I'm sure you all remember the impacts of the shutdown back in the fall. While that was a complete government shutdown across all federal agencies, Congress since then has passed 6 of the 12 annual appropriations bills. However, as Spencer mentioned earlier, incidents related to immigration enforcement in Minnesota have led congressional Democrats to oppose moving forward with the Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill, which had been tied into a package of 6 bills, including transportation, including the IRS, as well as a handful of other federal agencies. And because all those are packaged into one bill, we could see a lapse in appropriations for those agencies here at the end of the week on January 30th. So stay tuned for more on that. Then in February is when we expect some action on the Farm Bill, and we could also see perhaps some action on surface transportation reauthorization as soon as February. March and April is when we see the beginning of the FY27 appropriations process. So that's when we will be submitting those appropriations requests for the county. Then we don't have strict dates yet, but sometime this spring is when we will see that committee action on the Water Resources Development Act, as well as on the surface transportation reauthorization. Summer is, so typically spring is when the committees take action, and then in the summer is when the full House and Senate take action on those bills. So there'll be a lot of action to amend legislation and get those passed ahead of the August recess, because then quickly in September is when all these programs between surface transportation, the Farm Bill, and the government funding for fiscal year 26 all expire on September 30th. And then Congress is set to adjourn for the month of October to go home and campaign ahead of the November election, which is a great segue to my last slide in the presentation, and that is just talk a little bit about the politics of 2026, because 2026, as you all know, is an election year, and it is a midterm election year federally, and every decision coming out of Washington, D.C. will be influenced by the politics of the midterm elections. The House, both chambers of Congress are up for election. The entire House of Representatives, 1/3 of the Senate, And the elections have the potential to change majorities in one or both chambers, which will have big implications for legislation going forward. I just want to talk a little bit about the local Fresno County congressional politics, because this election will be unique in that we had, for the first time in probably my lifetime, mid-decade redistricting. And the County of Fresno's congressional delegation is set to see some changes come January 2027. So it's important to stress that the current congressional delegation will not change until the new Congress starts on January 3rd, 2027. But members of the House will be running for re-election, or in some cases will have new congressional districts altogether who will be running campaigns here in 2026. And so Fresno County currently has 4 members of the House, four House members in the congressional delegation. That's Congressman McClintock, Costa, Fong, and Adam Gray. But under the new maps implemented by Prop 50, we'll see that delegation expand to 6 seats. The 22nd district, currently represented by Congressman David Valadeo, will, under those new maps, expands up into western Fresno County. And then the 18th congressional district, which is currently a San Jose-based district, gets extended down through San Benito County and into extreme western Fresno County, the part of the county west of I-5, including the city of Coalinga. That's right. So just wanted to lay that out there because, again, those politics, those election year politics, the new congressional districts are all things we take into consideration as we advocate for the county's priorities here in 2026. And before I close and open it up to questions, I just want to say two last things. One is the next item on the agenda is the annual federal legislative platform. Just want to stress how valuable of a document that is for us as your federal advocates out in Washington, D.C. It provides us the guidance necessary to act quickly when circumstances change or opportunities arise. So I want to thank you, members of the board, as well as county staff in the CAO's office for the hard work that goes into developing that platform. It is an invaluable tool for us in our efforts out in Washington, D.C. And then I want to make sure I'm thanking the great staff here at the county, from Paul Nerland, the CAO, to Sam Buck, as well as Savag Tatioshan. It's been wonderful to work with all of them, and the partnership we have has been very constructive over the past year, and we are looking forward to continuing to serve the county into 2026. So thank you very much. And with that, Spencer and I welcome any questions you may have.
Any questions?
I have to ask you this question because of both your ages. Do you know what regular order is?
Oh, it depends. Yes, to some extent,
history,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Supervisor Maggie.
Just a couple quick questions. First, how's Chris doing?
He's doing well, thank you. He's not, unlike me, he's not snowed in like I was in DC. He's enjoying that Southern California weather.
I know a few of us will be in Washington, I think next month, if I'm not mistaken, for NACO's legislative conference. So hopefully we'll have an opportunity to interface when we're back there as well. Looking at spending, there's still a significant deficit spending taking place. Is there any appetite in Washington to try to balance the budget, or at least reduce the amount of deficit spending that's taking place?
Deficit reduction, the national debt, our annual deficit is a perennial issue of debate on Capitol Hill. There are very strong and loud voices to address the deficit, but those voices have, at least for the last few years, have been drowned out by majorities in both the House and Senate to continue the deficit spending. We've seen the debt increase. We've seen the deficits continue to be there. So it's, again, an issue of perennial debate, but the actions we've seen over the past few years have indicated that the continued deficit spending is the way things will be probably here, at least in fiscal year 27. But of course, the election could change things come next year.
Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, this was just an informational only item, so no motion is necessary. We'll move on to the next item. Thank you very much.
Item number 10, adopt recommended changes to the Fresno County Federal Legislative Platform. Authorize the chairman to execute letters of support or opposition in accordance with the platform, and authorize the CAO to work with the county's federal congressional delegation, federal advocates, and/or other necessary parties to support or oppose legislation in accordance with the platform.
Hi, Sam.
Hi. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Samantha Buck, Deputy CAO. The item before your board will adopt the changes to the federal legislative platform for 2026. This is an annual update of the platform. The last time it went before your board was February 11th, 2025. It provides a statement of the goals and priorities of your board, serves as a basis of advocacy efforts with Congress and also federal agencies, and it was updated with input from county departments and our federal advocates. Now, for the format of this presentation, I'll provide your board with a high-level overview of the changes, and I'll walk you through by section what those are. Your board will then have an opportunity to review those changes, discuss, and then adopt the revised platform. Now, I'll move on to highlight the changes by section. If you reference the legislative platform that has the red track changes, I'll walk you through that. Under major legislative issues, we added language to address the impacts to the county of H.R. 1, including language opposing federal actions that reduce funding or impose new administrative requirements, thereby limiting benefits of Medicaid, TANF, and SNAP. We also included language to oppose impacts to the funding or restructuring of Medicaid financing, providing limits on matching funds or the state's flexibility to administer benefits. Under general government and finance, we added language to support the continued restoration of the state and local taxes deduction, otherwise known as SALT, due to the passage of H.R. 1. This increased the SALT deduction, as been mentioned, from $10,000 to $40,000 per year for tax years 25 through 29. Under social services, we also added language to support restoring federal financial participation for SNAP to 50%. We also revised language to align the changes in the measurements of program outcomes from work participation to family stability. I'd also like to note that during briefings, we reviewed additional changes that are needed under public health and as a result of recent board actions. So if you refer to the track changes version on page 6, second bullet up from the bottom, the recommended changes to that language are to support comprehensive federal strategies to address substance abuse, including legislation aimed at a thorough approach to addressing the growing opioid epidemic, inclusive of fentanyl and other opioids, and robust regulation of designer drugs and emerging psychoactive substances such as kratom and its active alkaloids to protect public health and ensure consumer safety and provide regulatory guidance. This concludes my presentation. I'm available should your board have questions.
Okay, I will pass it to the board. Supervisor Magzi.
Just to thank you for that last bullet. We've seen the actions that this board has taken around kratom and how the FDA is not engaged to regulate that substance. So fentanyl, I want to thank the DA's office because the DA's office has been a real champion around fentanyl awareness. 10 years ago, 8 years ago, no one had really ever heard of fentanyl. And now with kratom, I see kratom being something that is really having a negative effect. So thank you for making those changes.
Yeah, and I also want to point out this removes the harm reduction program that your board recently took action on.
Excellent. Any other comments from board members? Yeah, I would like to just make one change. This would be the time to put that in.
Correct.
I'm glad for removing the harm reduction. I would like to, under criminal justice and public protection, add support federal laws and immigration and customs enforcement efforts to remove criminal, illegal aliens from our community. Do you want me to have that, or do you want me to repeat it?
I have that
Okay.
language. and it'd be up to the board to discuss it, and
Well, we would have to take a vote on that.
you can adopt with the revised changes after discussion.
Okay. Is there any other?
Let me,
Yes, go ahead, Supervisor Chavez.
so honing in on that, what would the language actually say? I'm trying to look at the page
Yeah.
number.
It would say support federal laws, which I think we're all comfortable with, and immigration and custom enforcement efforts to remove criminal illegal aliens from our community.
Folks that have been convicted of
crimes
crimes,
and are here.
pedophilia, murder,
Yep.
things of that sort.
Yes.
That's what we do. So I just want to make sure we're cautious that we're not going into the area of SB 54 and that we're in compliance. Don't want to jeopardize any state funding or anything of that sort. That would be okay, legal counsel, on that.
Yes, Chair, you're talking about legislative and funding efforts, not so much efforts within the county.
Well, I am saying that we want to support ICE's efforts to remove criminal illegal aliens from our community and support federal laws. It's not saying anything more than that. We have laws that SB 54 is unfortunately part of the books. We understand that. We've been operating that way. The Sheriff's Department's been operating with that restriction where their hands are tied. But I think making this statement, putting this on, is just simply saying we support federal laws and ICE's effort to remove criminal illegal aliens from our community. I think that's taking that as just a public statement from our board is a safe thing. I know, for some, it riles, people's feathers that they're, rounding up people who are not criminal illegal aliens. I'm clearly stating criminal illegal aliens. That is what ICE's efforts are doing, and we support that as a body.
So we're distinguishing folks. I mean, I think what would, at least for me, make me a little bit more comfortable was specifically what we just described. So I want to make sure our sheriff that's here, maybe can speak to that. Folks that right now we are legally allowed to turn over, which are convicted criminals, right, of specific crimes, violent crimes, rape, murder, child pedophilia. If we can include that, I think that would be very helpful.
I think Sheriff Zanoni can speak to that, but I think we're even restricted, Supervisor, from contacting ICE unless they contact us first. But I've stayed away from SB 54. I don't say, and reject SB 54. I'm simply just making a statement that we support federal law enforcement officials from removing criminal illegal aliens in our community. I think we should all be able to say we support that. That's why I'm putting it in there.
We do. The term I think we're getting at is criminals,
Yeah,
right?
that's why I put it in.
Because we have that, and I want to hone in and make sure that we're specific, and that is compliance. Sheriff Zoni, if you could just maybe for the purpose of the conversation, answer the question, what crimes specifically are you allowed right now to work with our federal authorities? And, that would be helpful for the conversation.
Well, good morning, Chairman Bredefeld, members of the board. It really goes back to SB 54. There's quite a few of them listed on there, and those are the ones that we will cooperate with ICE if we are contacted by them and those individuals are in our custody and they meet the criteria set forth by SB 54. So we are always in compliance with state law.
Okay.
What are some examples of those, Sheriff?
Or the criteria that you're referring to.
Well, the criteria, when we talk about crimes, it could be anything from murder to assault with a deadly weapon, major narcotics trafficking, being involved in criminal street gangs, possession of firearms, a lot of different felonies, including burglary, domestic violence. I believe even if you look at it, potentially violation of certain types of criminal restraining orders are on there. But I think the safest way, so we don't miss something, is if it's listed as a crime under SB 54 that qualifies under state law for a detainer and a transfer to ICE, that is what we would be cooperating with, because that is what we do. We follow that law.
But if I understand, ICE has to contact you. You cannot contact ICE.
That's correct. They have to contact us. We are not allowed to contact them because that goes against the language in SB 54 as it was written back in 2017, which, for the record, differs from what CDCR is allowed to do within the state of California. They can contact ICE.
Are you open to codifying that with the sheriff just described?
Well, what would you like to change?
The language that specifically outlines those crimes that the sheriff just referenced in that order on there. Because what I don't want to happen is for us to go and solicit funds from the federal government and then us have to come back and reject money because it doesn't align with what state law is requiring our sheriff to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure really what you're asking me to do. We have criminal illegal aliens. I don't know what you want to define. I mean, I'm open to whatever you're trying to do.
Exactly what the sheriff just mentioned, those crimes that he listed.
There's a lot of crimes that you listed.
There's actually more than I listed when you look at SB 54. So I think whatever's listed under that or, that criteria, that should be the guideline as to what we support.
So that,
Chair, I might offer a simplification.
Yeah.
You might just add, you support these activities consistent with state law.
consistent with state law. Yeah,
I think that covers it.
I'd be okay with that.
Consistent with state law would mean in some way to suggest we support SB 54, which I don't want to create that. I don't support SB 54.
Maybe acknowledging state law.
Yeah, because the trickiness to this, and we're kind of in the middle, Chair, right? Where we have state law and we have federal law. I don't want us to solicit funds that then don't align, and then we have to reject that when we could be going after funding opportunities that could help the sheriff in his office.
Yeah, but I don't think this is about pursuing funds. It's just a policy statement.
How about we say, we don't have to say if you don't want to say support, how about in compliance with state law?
In compliance.
Because that is our job as elected officials to comply
And
with
you have
law.
to do that yourself, Sheriff, right? With regards to how you operate your facility and that.
Absolutely. That's why we have the Truth and Values Act presentation with all those that are transferred under SB 54. I think we have it every May. And we list that. It's a public document. And it's been very, when we give it out to the public, people have been very receptive of it because they see who these criminals are.
Okay. Are you, other board members, comfortable? I know Supervisor Pacheco, you said you were.
Yeah, for me, I concur with the sheriff's remark, and for me, just support the criminal element.
Right.
And I don't want to stray too far that.
No.
Because I don't want to get into the national debate.
Agree.
I don't think it's our lane. I want to stay away from that. I understand what you're trying to do. Like Supervisor Chavez, I think the sheriff came up with a reasonable compromise to meet your needs, as long as we have specified criminals and comply with state law. I would be okay. Anything more than that, then I'm not in
Supervisor
support.
Pacheco and Maxie?
Yeah, so I would offer up maybe what the bullet point should say is support federal laws removing criminal illegal aliens, and leave it at that. And that way, because there's many different agencies that are involved in removing those folks. It's not just immigration and customs. You've got Border Patrol and others. So I would just
You got the
simplify it.
FBI.
Okay.
You could actually have Department of Homeland Security, which does a lot with internet crimes against children. The DEA, they do a lot with individuals involved in a lot of major drug trafficking and drug trafficking organizations and cartels. So we have to keep the 100,000-foot view that it's not just ICE. There's many federal law enforcement partners.
Excellent point. So how would you want to?
Yeah, I would offer up, we can have a bullet that says support federal laws removing criminal illegal aliens. That way it leaves it open to all agencies that are involved
I can
in
live
doing
with that.
In compliance with state law.
Well, I would leave the bullet, just support federal laws removing criminal illegal aliens. Just leave it at that.
What's the issue with compliance with state law?
Because this is a federal platform. So if we, obviously, we take an oath to uphold the state constitution and, the federal constitution as well. Sometimes those are in conflict. And by us supporting federal laws doesn't mean that we're going to violate the oath that we take here at the state level. So I like it simple, clean, and we all agree that we want to remove criminal illegal aliens, so just leave it at that.
I think for me, my comfort level is in compliance with state law, just so that we don't put the sheriff in a bad situation. But I respect my colleague's decision.
Do you want to add remove criminal illegal aliens from our community, or you don't want that part of it?
I would just generally removing criminal illegal aliens. That way it's broad. I mean, it's not, it's
Okay.
everywhere.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? So that is the way we would do it. Any comments from the public? And if you just say your name and your comments.
Yes, thank you. Maria Pacheco. I'm just asking that you remove the language or don't consider the language illegal aliens, as that is very dehumanizing to humans. Historically, we have had this type of language in our policy, and I'm just asking that you don't use that language in this policy. I think that's the only thing that I disagree with. I think that we all hope that we have a safer community to live in. I'm sure you all know that I don't agree with the way that ICE has been conducting itself. However, I'm just asking that you don't use this language. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gloria Hernandez, Mothers Helping Mothers in California. I have a problem with the lingo, especially the word illegal aliens. These are undocumented people. They're not aliens like Superman is. The second thing is that I don't hear anything about you supporting that these people that you want to take out have been convicted of a crime. There's a lot of people in jail that have not gone through the process. And so I like to see some due process respected under our Constitution. I like to see some language in there. The other thing is part of your legislative agenda, if I understand, has you supporting some kind of immigration reform, but it doesn't explain which one. There's several bills in front of us that we don't know what you're supporting. And I'm against the H-1 program because I know of people in Huron that are under that contract right now. They can't even go to the store by themselves. They're accompanied. It's like they're slavery. They're not free. And so my father was a bracero, and it doesn't look good on you to bring it back. These people in some of the legislation platforms that you're trying to endorse, I don't know, don't have an ability after giving their youth and their labor to this country under the program to be able to become citizens. There's no pathway to legalization. The only one is Senator Padilla. That would strengthen a lot. If you could look at the individual legislation you're proposing and let the public know what you're exactly you are endorsing, we could guide you more. These are people that are taxpayers that have been taxpayers for a long time here in the county. They contribute to your county pockets. They contribute to the little cities. They contribute to Measure C. We all know that. But I don't understand how you can blanketly approve of something when we don't know what you're approving. Thank you. And I just want to remind you, Big Ag is benefiting off the slave labor of the people. A lot of the people have called me from Huron that are essential workers that you all recognize back in the COVID days. They have complaints because they're not getting hired because they're bringing in H-1A program people. And I can't even advise them to go to the Department of Labor to complain because they don't have status to complain. Yet, they've been paying their taxes. They've been contributing to your county coffers. So please, let us know what you're actually voting on when you talk about immigration reform.
Thank you.
Hello, folks. Go New, she, her, hers with motivating politics. I want to say that it would behoove you all to engage in this national discourse, that we are not completely separate or individual from everything that's happening on a national scale. There may be an emphasis on criminal in this court, but I do want to focus that with the lack of due process, I implore you all to reconsider how this bill harms our community significantly more than it protects anybody. And I just want to close saying that let's all just be frank that everything happening with immigration right now is strictly centered in racism.
Okay. Anyone else from the public? Okay, I'm going to close it to the public. Sam, did you have something?
Yeah.
Again, Supervisor Maggs, you want to read
Yeah, so
the line?
what I would suggest to try to, again, split the baby, and I'm open to other suggestions, but support federal laws removing criminal illegal aliens. And I'm open to, if that vernacular needs to be modified, I just offer that up as something that's very broad and doesn't name an agency, it's just broad.
It works for me.
Yeah, works for me.
Okay, any other comments?
Well, why don't we try and again, meet them halfway, and instead of illegal, if that's an issue, why don't you change it to undocumented?
Well,
You
I
okay
would.
with that?
I mean, is
No,
that
I'm not
is that
okay
an
with-
issue? You're not
Yeah,
okay with that?
no,
Then okay,
because-
leave it alone, Nathan, I'm good.
Because undocumented is
Yeah.
vernacular to, change the topic. The reality is, these people are here illegally. None of us here are documented Americans. We're here legally, and that's the language they want to use in terms of undocumented. People are here legally, or they're here illegally, period. Yeah, if there's
We
any
have
other.
to have two motions, one to add this and then one for the deal.
You can do that, or you can make a motion to approve it with this change.
Okay.
And, excuse me, supervisors, it would be with the change, the other one I mentioned earlier, to remove the harm reduction and then also
Yes.
kratom.
Would you like to
Would
make
be
a motion?
adopt with revised changes.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to adopt this document with the revised changes that have just been stated.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Okay, 2 opposed. Supervisor Pacheco and Chavez passes 3-2. Next item.
Item number 11, Board of Supervisors Committee Reports and Comments.
Anybody with any comments? Okay, Supervisor Magsit.
Yes, thank you. So I want to remind folks that I think I spoke about this at the last board meeting, but this year's point-in-time count is happening tonight and tomorrow. And as you all may be aware, the PIT is an annual count that helps inform agencies like ours on the number of people experiencing unsheltered homelessness in our region. This event requires hundreds, literally hundreds of participants and volunteers. I want to encourage everyone listening to consider participating this year. If you have any questions or would like to get more information, please call Dylan McCulley from our CAO's office and also the Office of Housing and Homelessness at 559-600-1225. I would also like to welcome our new intern, Michaela, who is here in the audience. She's a sophomore at Clovis Community College and is a student with the Maddie Institute internship program. And that is all I have.
Supervisor Chavez?
Yeah, just really briefly, I'll be at the point in time count with Supervisor Magzik tonight, and I'll actually be going out myself to count some of our homeless folks out there. Hopefully they don't send me by the freeway, but I'll take whatever assignment we get. And I also want to welcome our intern also from the Maddie Institute, Katana. I think our CAO might have tried to scare her, but she was ready to do a presentation yesterday. So as you can tell, she's sharp, and we welcome her to the county. Thank you.
Supervisor Pacheco, Supervisor Mendez. I have 2 things. One, regarding Measure C, it appears to me that there has been a plan all along for a citizens' initiative to move forward this year instead of a serious attempt to place a renewal of Measure C on the ballot that would be acceptable to all 15 cities and the county. This raises several concerns. One, if the initiative committee utilizes the work product paid for by the public, which, by the way, was about $925,000 that's been spent to pass this Measure C forward through COG, and that $925,000 of taxpayer money has been wasted by 11 mayors out of 15 from the COG that voted to abandon. Well, they didn't actually vote to abandon the measure because the procedure that they utilized at the last committee meeting actually was an inappropriate measure, but their effort was to abandon the Measure C because they did not want to continue to negotiate with the county and the 4 other mayors to come up with an acceptable Measure C that actually fix roads and streets. So they abandoned that, wasting $925,000. The question I have is, if this initiative committee utilizes this work product paid for by the public, as I understand it, is that a violation of election laws, county council? And two, if that occurs, would the initiative then be deemed a governmental tax rather than a private initiative, and then subject to a 2/3 voter approval versus a simple majority? I would like to ask county council to research, investigate these issues, and return with legal analysis, including potential litigation and/or prosecution. Number two, on a sales tax, I would like to direct the county council and the CAO to return with a legal and fiscal analysis of the county placing a countywide general sales tax on the November ballot, which would require 50% plus one, including the process and fiscal benefits. The general tax could be used for expenses such as actually repairing and fixing roads, other capital projects, public safety, other critical needs. So how long would that take to come back with those two items?
I think we can do that in 45 days.
Okay, so that would be my direction, and I look forward to that analysis and for the board to review it and see where this the board should go. I think we really are interested in trying to fix streets and roads throughout the county, and I think all those dollars on a general tax could be utilized throughout the county. Is that accurate? Also, County Council, if a general tax passed, it wouldn't just be on unincorporated areas, it would be throughout the county that those dollars could be used.
It can be countywide, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, let's move on.
Item number 12, board appointments.
Anybody with any board, Supervisor Mendez?
I've got 9.
9, you got it. You got the floor, too.
Yeah. Appoint Barbara Jean Garcia to the board member position previously held by Lily Renteria, and that's Parlier Cemetery District. Oak Grove Cemetery District, reappoint Leroy Mayfield II. Kingsburg Cemetery District, reappoint Tamara Jackson. Fowler Cemetery District, reappoint Dwight, Claudel. Kalinga Huron Cemetery District, reappoint Virginia Gina Lopez. Washington Colony Cemetery, reappoint Denver Wood. Salma Cemetery District, reappoint Rosie Robinson. Reedley Cemetery District, reappoint Michael Llewellyn. And the Kalinga Huron Mosquito Abatement District, reappoint Craig Fenster. Did you get all that over there? Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
I have an easy one, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman. I have one appointment for Mr. Michael Kelly to the vacant private sector position 1 on the Fresno Regional Workforce Development Board, expiring on November 1, 2027.
Thank you. Anyone else? I have 3. One, reappointing Blair Looney to the Fresno Mosquito and Vector Control District at-large position. 2, reappointing Ralph Waterhouse to the Zoo Authority Chairman's nominee at-large position. And 3, appointing Jordan Houston to the Housing and Community Development Citizens Advisory Committee, the District 2 committee member position previously held by Max Calhammer. Okay, thank you. And next item?
If you could do a motion and a second to approve.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, we do need a motion on that. Is there
I'll move for approval of those.
a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Item 13, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the board on any matter not on this agenda. In addition, any persons wanting to address the board on any closed session item, that's items 14 through 19.2, may also do so at this time.
Thank you. Yes, if you'd state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Chairman and Supervisors. My name is Matt Schmidt. I'm the project manager for the Toro American Landfill Gas Project. We're going to make some quick statements here for your consideration. This is agenda item 18 under closed session. Okay. So Toro's in contract with the county to design, build, and operate a landfill gas-to-energy facility at the landfill. It'll be completed at the sole cost of Toro, the developer. The project's under a revenue agreement that was approved by your board. Project's set to start construction by mid-year and be operational by end of 2027. The county's set to benefit significantly over the initial 25-year terms of the revenue agreement. Current estimates are sharply higher benefits than was estimated at the time the revenue agreement was approved by your board. It's important to underscore what's at stake here. Pursuant to the revenue agreement, the project will provide the county with 50% of the net proceeds from the sale of gas after deduction of certain operating expenses and finance payments. This increases to 51% over the life of the project. There's also substantial additional benefits to the county through the pipeline franchise agreement payments that your board approved. The county will collect substantial property tax revenues. Pursuant to the revenue agreement, there's a separate fee paid to the landfill to reduce costs of maintaining and operating the gas collection system. There will also be a measurable reduction in electricity costs at the landfill as a result of idling existing blower and flare equipment while the project's operating. Now, these benefits are not theoretical or pie-in-the-sky projections. These are concrete, long-term financial gains for the county and its residents. And this is achieved 100% by private sector funding. Now, we have the highest caliber development team in place with DTE Energy, a Fortune 500 multi-billion-dollar diverse energy and utility company who's set to invest up to $90 million to fund the construction of the project and take the lead on implementation and operations through the term of the revenue agreement. DTE Energy is one of the leaders in the landfill gas industry, and the county would be hard-pressed to find a better partner for this project. Now, we urge the county to take a short pause, first meet with us and attempt to resolve the issues before the board makes any decisions. We are very confident there's a reasonable solution to the issues in front of us, which are typical for a project financing and development of this nature. We're on standby to meet with the county on short notice. And my colleagues are going to make a short statement, and then we're here to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is John Bean. I am with Toro Energy. I have been in the landfill gas business since 1990. Toro Energy was created in 1995. Between myself and the two principals, we've got over 90 years experience developing landfill gas projects. We've done 65 plus. We're currently in the middle of 4 more, including American Avenue, and we own and operate an additional 4 projects around the country. So we are not a shell company by any stretch. Developing landfill gas projects from concept to commercial operations is a time-consuming and occasionally frustrating process. It takes years in most cases. After getting the gas rights, which we did, we responded to an RFP that the county put out. We negotiated a revenue agreement. As we were ending that process, we started into the second phase, and that phase is where the real work begins, where you're getting the permitting, you're designing the plant, you're doing gas studies. We hire local engineers to carry out this work for us. I mean, it's too much for a single individual, so we have to hire third-party consultants, gas study people. So local representation at this point in the process is paramount. We were fortunate to hire Colony to come in and take on that development lead role for us. Toro has maintained a financial interest in the project and as well as a managerial oversight. And third, the final stage that my colleague mentioned was the financing aspect of this project. DTE is well known in the industry. They're one of the top developing landfill gas development companies in the world. I worked for them for a couple of years. We know these guys very, very well. We've sold one project in Texas to them. They are would be a tremendous partner for the next 25 years for the county. They are at the doorstep. We are now looking to move this to the next phase, and I would concur that just take a breath. Let's get in a room and talk through these few points that we need to get done. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, supervisors. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. My name is Gwyneth O'Hara, and I'm appearing today as counsel for Toro Energy of California. But I also speak as someone who's worked with public agencies over many years, and so I am intimately aware of the kind of responsibility that you have for the county's interests here and doing something that will best serve everyone. So my colleague sent a letter to the board. I don't know if you've received copies. I do have copies of that here today. As Mr. Schmidt has pointed out, there are a range of benefits to this project to the county, and it provides an exceptional financial benefit. I'm not going to say more about it, but there are a myriad of benefits that I think Mr. Schmidt pointed out. The project is very close to being final. It's months away. And so therefore, significant work has already been invested here. So I want to speak just briefly about the legal issues and the county's interpretation of sections of the revenue agreement just don't match what the contract says, what California law allows, or even the county's own actions to date. The agreement requires Toro to proceed with due diligence towards certain actions, and it has done that. It doesn't require that they complete this myriad of governmental approvals within that time period. They just have to proceed with due diligence, and they certainly have. Many of the requirements take far longer than a year, governmental approvals, and in fact, are things the county itself is intimately involved in. So the county's longstanding course of conduct here is also inconsistent with an idea that there was a year to complete certain activities. There was no notice of default issued at the 1-year mark. The county continued to process approvals, accepted and reviewed applications, and even facilitated safe harbor activities for the really important tax credits here. So only in late 2025, after Toro had invested significant resources, did the county raise any issues. And so this interpretation of the contract just doesn't really line up with the activities that have happened to date. So right now, as we sit, I think we're asking you as partners in a shared project to sit down and meet face to face. We believe protracted litigation is not in the interest of the parties here, that really it's time to get in a room and resolve any issues. We stand prepared for litigation if that's what has to happen, but we're asking for resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Christine Frazier. I've been a resident here in Fresno for a very long time. I have a autistic son who's gonna be 16, and he's at elopement risk. I did not know what a special accommodation letter was, but I did know that he needed a double-keyed lock to stay inside. I have been plagued by fear that he will get out because due to change of management within my dwelling. Now, I've had visitors in my home. I've had officers. I've had child services do walkthroughs. No one has told me about a special accommodation letter. 2 years. I have been a live-in lock. So I don't want to bash or shame. I just want to put forth a solution
everybody learns things by stories. And I noticed that apps are not just another app, it's a tool to help, really. So I suggest, and I brought forth a blueprint of having like CART or Fresno State without cost to the county to put forth an app so people can have a solid database. It's really just for modify the home to fit the kid, not modify the kid to fit the home. I've had ABA in my home. Sometimes it's a sensory need. You need that sensory output. It's very hard. I have to do all my own modifications, so then me and the landlord go at it because, you know, I'm not a carpenter. I don't know what to do. So, and then the other one is the story-based telling. These kids are a product of routine. So a kid goes to Dollar Tree all the time, but he has a fit. But he soon becomes an adult, same type of fit. People can pull up that story. The officers, they study those stories, those incidents, so they can identify if it's a kid that is adult, you know, that's special needs, or under the influence of something else. So I just want to give them a knowledge vest. Also with, I don't get medical at all. Brain fog is a severe thing. So it has an AI backer to block that brain fog to help without misdiagnosis. I just want to do better, be better. I always say those that help and do not hinder deserve respect. I want to respect my community. I do not respect that 2 years I was told to put a bed in front of my door. That's a fire hazard too. So I just want to help.
Okay, thank you.
Might I pass these? Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Good morning. My name is Jeffrey Wood, and I reside in Raisin City within District 4, Buddy Mendez office. And I want to thank Buddy's office and staff, especially Solomon, for their efforts to contact the Special Water District on my behalf and for calling me back. For the rest of the board, what I'm referring to is a pending disagreement between myself and the Raisin City Community Water District, CSA 43. This disagreement is over whether or not I used almost 200,000 gallons of water over the course of 14 days. This usage was said to have occurred between March 13th and 27th of last year. Suspiciously, the meter was replaced on March the 12th and started reading almost 400 gallons per hour immediately. This amount grew over the course of 14 days, starting 9,000 gallons the first day and exceeding 14,000 gallons a day at its peak. We're talking about a single-family residence, not a farm, me and my family. And there's no way that much water was ever there. The water district suggests a leak, 9 gallons per minute average, by the way. But Denver Wood, the local pastor across the street and member of the community board, confirmed in a conference call with the water district that there was no visible leak. It's on the outside corner, the lot is. And the district suggested perhaps a plumbing fixture leaking into a drain, but the house utilizes a septic system that can't support 14,000 gallons of water, 1,500 gallon tank, mind you. My efforts to work with the water district has been frustrating. Numerous emails, phone calls, one conference call, 41 minutes long. Nothing but a rejection letter to show for my efforts. Response times are slow or not at all from the water district. In a conference call with the district, I suggested that they reconcile the storage tank, pump flow meters with our district to see if there's a discrepancy between what's been pumped and what has been billed. They agreed that that would be acceptable to do so, but that was November 7th, and still we have no resolution. Additionally, my neighbor has shared with me 2 bills that total 261,000 gallons of water. It's on the back page following the 4-month period of the change out of the meter. That's $1,700 in charges on a widowed woman on a fixed income in our community. So what I would request from the board is that you would direct the Department of Public Works and Planning to correct this problem in a timely manner and stop dragging this on. Now, if the delay is on account that there is no way for them to reconcile the 192,000 gallon tank and the individual meters, there's 68 in the whole community, then I believe that logic should prevail and my $1,600 charge should be dismissed, as well as any other accounts in this district with similar issues be reviewed and corrected. Thank you for your time and your service. Any questions?
We'll look into it.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The board is now going to go into closed session. County Council, will we have anything to report out?
I have a report now, and then we probably will have a report out after closed session also.
Okay, then we'll be reporting out. And did you say you were going to say
So then
something?
we'll have to adjourn after closed session.
Okay. Is there a motion and a second to adjourn for closed session?
Excuse me?
We already did.
Yeah,
that,
we-
and they did it at the
Yeah,
same time.
we did it. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we're just going to come back out. Okay, so we're not going to adjourn, so we just send. Okay, so we don't need to have a
We do have
motion to close.
one report out from a prior closed session now.
So we will report that when closed, and now we're going to go to closed session.
Yes.
Okay.
So on October 21st, 2025, the board in closed session unanimously approved a settlement involving alleged check fraud affecting Fresno Unified School District, in which the county is only a pass-through and was not involved in or affected by the fraud. The county will not pay or receive money. The agreement was executed as of January 7, 2026. Copies of the agreement can be obtained from the county counsel's office. That's all.
Okay, so now we will go to closed session. Okay. Okay, let me know when. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Chairman, we have one report out from today. In the Tuslokian versus Hernandez case, the board approved 5-0, filing a cross-complaint against defendant Hernandez. That's all. You may adjourn now.
Thank you. Can I get a motion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed, none. Passed unanimously. We are adjourned.